We exposed the BBC with thousands of people outside their offices in Manchester. The British public do not trust you anymore.
Michael is going to explain what's going to happen next, right?
I'm being arrested. I am being arrested.
Causing a breach of peace.
I've caused a breach of peace. I'm being arrested.
But the content of what you're
Can we just say
streaming.
The content of what I'm streaming, I'm being arrested for breaching the peace. I'm being arrested for breaching the peace. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. You've all watched this. Can you get me a solicitor? Can you get me a solicitor?
Can you just turn off
Yes.
your live feed?
Can you get me a solicitor?
Turn off your live feed, please.
Yeah?
What are you arresting you for, Tommy?
Breach of the peace. Apparently I'm inciting on my video.
He has actually done nothing wrong.
You can sort anything like that.
It's for you to go to his video and see he's not. He's even said
it
he's
straight
doing this.
Since my activism started over a decade ago, the establishment, the police and the media have all been trying to take me down. The whole world saw me wrongfully imprisoned last year. 2.5 months on solitary confinement. What was the response by the media to that unlawful detention? They justified it. They lied to you. All of them reported that I pled guilty. None of them got the transcripts from the court. None of them reported the truth. We have a corrupt media. When I went to prison and 600,000 people signed a petition for my release, 30,000 people marched here demanding my release. When I come out of prison, I was completely unaware of the lengths that they were going to take me down. My PayPal was removed. That removes my ability to hire a team and work and bring you the other side of the story. My website was closed down, but I was completely unaware that Panorama, the world's leading investigative journalist documentary, were working on a programme about me with the working title, Tommy Takedown. This was their final punch. They were about to discredit me to the nation, to you, the public. And I will prove that that documentary is not impartial, that it's scripted, that they invent things, that they lie, that they clip, that they edit. What you will witness in this documentary will prove to you this isn't about Tommy Robinson. This is about all the people that have been lied to, all the people who have been mislabelled, despite all their efforts to silence me. It became very apparent that something far more sinister was going on. With the collusion between the establishment, Panorama, and a far-left extremist organisation called Hope Not Hate. You're going to hear about the tactics they use to get the narrative they want. In this documentary, you're going to hear a lot about Hope Not Hate. It's important you understand who they are. Hope Not Hate is a so-called anti-fascist organisation who formed in 2004. They formed from a group and a magazine called Searchlight. Nick Lowles, who now leads Hope Not Hate, was a lead member of Searchlight. In 1984, Searchlight worked alongside Panorama to fraudulently edit footage which they were prosecuted or taken to court and sued for. They paid £1 million damages to Conservative MPs who they wrongfully edited footage to link them with far-right extremist groups. Hope Not Hate brand themselves as an anti-fascist organisation. They're there to tackle fascism. In reality, they label, slander and attack anyone who speaks out against open borders or against Islam. The worrying thing is they have a lot of influence. For example, all media outlets across the UK, across the world, take what they say as credible and they work hand in hand with them. From CNN, The Guardian, Huffington Post, The Independent, Sky News, Newsnight, Panorama, the Metro, the Sunday Times. They even advise the UN. They advise counter-terrorism. In their advice to the UN, they say that our Day for Freedom demonstration that many of you would have watched was a far-right extremist rally. That's fake news. being given as credible information and taken as expert info by the UN. Our Day for Freedom demonstration had homosexual speakers, drag artists, black speakers, Asian speakers. There was nothing far right against it. It was a liberal demonstration demanding free speech.
So what happens is when someone gets censored on Twitter for some kind of for hate speech or for incitement to violence or engaging in some kind of terrorist communication, they get their account taken down. They tend to come back, and that actually leads to a sort of an increased level of sense of participation and integration into these networks. So I do a lot of work looking into right-wing extremism in the United Kingdom and the United States. And one of the things that we've seen there is actually an entire mobilization of right-wing extremist activity around the concept of the freedom of speech being taken away from people. So just a few weeks ago in London, there was a march attended by a few thousand people that was called Day for Freedom, and that was entirely sort of centered around this issue of free speech and the sense that in the kind of parlance of the extreme right, the liberal establishment was trying to silence extreme right, legitimate conservative voices.
Just last year, Hope Not Hate were identified in a Swedish military report on left-wing extremist violence. It has been proven that Hope Not Hate exaggerated hate crime figures by 3,000%. Nothing they said after that point should ever have been taken as credible, let alone taken by journalists without checking anything and spread around the world to demonise and slander people and organisations. They play a key role in pressurising social media giants, whether it be with petitions or requests from MPs that they're working alongside with to say who's promoting hate. Not who's promoting hate that would breach laws in this country, but who needs silencing with their opinion. They're now teaching your children in schools about fascism. If we take a quote from their original spin doctor, Dan Hodges, from his quote you'll understand the tactics they use in this documentary. It was a no-holds-barred, bare-knuckle PR. We used every dirty, underhand, low-down, unscrupulous trick in the book. These are quotes from their spin doctor, Joe Mulhall, who is a lead researcher for Hope Not Hate. He brags about days out with their BBC political reporters. Their relationship works hand in hand with the corrupt mainstream media. They do the reports, the media then use their ammunition and their labelling to attack people and organisations, to demonise them and slander them. In 2015, Joe Mulhall used the hashtag Antifa on several occasions. The reason why this is so relevant is when you understand who Antifa are. Antifa are an organisation that leading members of the American government have called to be prescribed as a terrorist organisation. They balaclava up, they mask up, and they violently attack people who they're told to attack, and organisations which are highlighted to them by groups and organisations like Hope Not Hate. They find out who you are, they contact your work, anyone who steps above the parapet. Hope Not Hate's goal is to silence them and stop them. This is about stopping free speech. This is about having people too scared to speak. We'll speak with one gentleman now whose life has been completely changed due to him voicing his opinions. He broke no law, committed no crime. But wait till you hear what Hope Not Hate done to him.
This time last year, like I said, I was working full-time, happy, and because of some things I was doing outside of work, where I was sort of expressing my political opinions and so on, I ended up drawing their fire, and they wrote a report and called it in to the employer. So it was a kind of deliberate attempt to, it wasn't just to dox me, because I hadn't hidden my name, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, I was just expressing an opinion. But it was an attempt to deliberately get me fired.
Where was you working?
I was working at Standard Chartered Bank in Moorgate.
Doing what?
I was an associate, so I'd been there from a grad. I went to Bristol University and then went into the bank straight afterwards. So I've been there for about just around 18 months at this point.
So a good career?
Yeah, it was going well. Internally, there'd been no issues.
When you say you got involved, you was giving your political opinions with regards to?
Obviously the controversial stuff, so immigration, Islam, these kind of issues, but not in an extreme way, nothing you wouldn't happily say to anyone.
Just so we can get clear, we're not talking about committing a crime, we're just talking about speaking openly about immigration and Islam.
Yeah, and no one had a problem with it. That's the whole point that kind of strikes me about it.
So it's not like anyone made a complaint, nothing's happened, so what did Hope Not Hate do?
So Hope Not Hate, one of their, I can't remember which, but a team of their researchers wrote a small report. They were calling up multiple offices at the bank, and they were also focusing, because obviously we have a very big presence in the Middle East. So they were focusing on officers there to call them and just basically say, you've got this guy working for you, he's an Islamophobe, he's a racist, blah, 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 all of which obviously isn't true. I remember I was just sitting at my desk and I get called in by the MD and he sort of says, have you been saying this? And I say, yeah, no, I have. I didn't see it as a problem. The same guys were going to a lot of journalists trying to flog this report as well to make a big story out of it. Eventually, in around the summer of last year, you get this article, and it's very vicious, and it's obviously largely lifted from the report that came out a few weeks earlier, using slurs, using kind of nonsense labels, calling us Nazis, all that kind of thing.
Calling you Nazis with any evidence? Was there
No
any
evidence
in anything
whatsoever
you've said?
at all. It was made up with a very clear intention of making me lose my job, and it's a common tactic.
And you did lose your job?
Yeah, I was suspended, and then once the coverage happened, they obviously, whilst previously, like internally, the bank I think had kind of thought, well, maybe this is just an attack piece. Once there was coverage, obviously it's their reputation on the line. So then, pretty much immediately, I was fired. I have worked.
Just so that the public understand this, you committed no crime.
Okay.
You speak outside of work about immigration or Islam with no hatred.
No hatred.
Just facts. And because of that, where are you now? How's your life changed? What do you see for your future now?
Financially very difficult, of course, because it kills your income. And then there's knock-ons from that are always a pain.
Okay, well thanks, and I hope you, I wish you luck and try and get your life sorted.
Me too.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
So you've heard from Tom Dupree. You've heard how his life was changed simply for expressing his free speech due to the actions of Hope Not Hate. Later on in this documentary, you'll hear recordings of Caelan Robertson and George Llewellyn-John to see how their lives have been affected. Caelan and George used to work with me at Rebel Media, and when I went independent, they come to work with me there. When I was released from prison and I met with them, they said that they had been intimidated and threatened, and for that reason they couldn't work with me. I'd just been released from prison. I wasn't in a good state, and I thought they were just saying that because they wanted to go and work with Lauren Southern. Also, you'll hear recordings from Lauren Southern. Lauren Southern is a leading political activist from Canada. She now works as a journalist making documentaries. In those recordings, you'll hear about allegations about how they've suffered due to the actions of Hope Not Hate. So I've been contacted by Lucy Brown, who's an ex-employee. The last time we spoke to each other, we were screaming obscenities at each other. Now, she's been contacted by Hope Not Hate and by Panorama, who are working together on a project against me, work entitled Tommy Takedown. So I'm on the way to see Lucy. I'm actually really concerned and worried about what it is they're up to, because I know everything they've tried to do to take me down hasn't worked. So let's see what's next. Last time I spoke to you, I screamed some obscenities, some terrible things down the phone.
So did I. I also have a surprise for you.
Go on.
I thought I'd commiserate it, so I actually got your
No.
prison number
No, you
to
haven't.
remind myself the happiest day of my life.
What? 8208 4CG.
Yeah, that's the
Oh
one.
my god.
I laughed my head off.
Oh my god. Shit, Lucy, you were fucking angry. How have we ended up sitting here and what are we talking about?
Well, I received a very interesting email from one John Sweeney a couple of days ago, who is a big, BBC presenter for Panorama. Yes, apparently he's quite well known. And he's asking if I want to go for first it was a cup of tea, but then it was a pint. And he'll come all the way to Cambridge to see me. And I think he wants some dirt on you.
You was approached by Joe Mulhall?
Joe Mulhall, yes, Hope Not Hate.
So you approached by Hope Not Hate, who told you, I've seen what they've told you.
Yep.
They told you that there's a Take Tommy Down.
There's a Tommy Takedown.
Tommy Takedown?
Yes, and they've been taken on as sort of advisors to the BBC to help them with interviews and to get information about you.
How easy would it have been for you to...
They offered me $5,000 for a front page story about you being a twat.
What you could have done, you could have absolutely destroyed me, and my life, and my name,
Yep.
and my reputation. More so than that prison number did. More so than me going in prison could have done. Because you could have said anything, and they would run me.
I've arranged to meet John Sweeney tomorrow at 2 p.m. And by the sounds of it, what these people do is they try and be your friend when you're vulnerable, and they ply you with drink, and they try to get you to say something that you wouldn't normally say.
I want to show if what Lucy could have done. None of it will be factual, but what Lucy could have done. Now, bearing in mind, I might not have been here. You could have just done this, yeah? Fake text messages, falsify sender numbers of text. So if you wanted to, my phone will be here. Let's change the number there. No, we'll keep that as receipt. Let's put my number, yeah? So you effectively, as a disgruntled employee who fucking got my prison number tattooed on your wrist.
Joe Mulhall's just messaged me.
Let's take down Tommy.
I'm flat broke. I've got no means of income. I hate you. Joe Mulhall's just messaged me saying I can get you some money to do Tommy in. So I can go to fakemytext.co.uk and I can make you text me and then I can show
Panorama. My phone's here. I'm at home,
right.
minding my own business.
I've got Joe Mulhall here.
Joe Mulhall offering the takedown of Tommy Robinson.
Offering me some money, and you have said to me, what?
If you have anything to do with this Panama
Panorama
documentary, I will fucking bury you. You bitch. No.
Hang on, because I'm writing YOU, but you write you.
I write you.
Sorry. I just need to make it some bad grammar because.
Yeah, drop the T's because I don't pronounce my T.
I'm going to put WIV instead of with. This panorama, you wouldn't make that a capital letter.
No, I put with. I put with.
Okay, alright. With this panorama doc.
If you have anything to do with Panorama doc,
I will fucking bury you, comma.
Bury you bitch. Just to prove, I could have nothing to do with this. I'm not. My phone's here.
Yeah.
So I've not sent you a message.
Yeah. So let's wait a minute.
And the point is that they're actively searching with a far left organisation. They're actively working with my ex-employees to bring me down. What I want to prove here is how easy it is and how many other things in this documentary have been faked on me. If you had anything to do with this Panorama doc, I will fucking bury you, you bitch.
Can you focus on that?
So I didn't send that. That's sent from my computer. My phone has not sent you a single message. Now, Panorama are the biggest investigative journalists in the world.
Yeah.
So I don't see how this can work. If they wanted to do a proper investigative journalist piece, they should look at the crime that I committed. Was it criminal? Did the judge act out of law? Were my human rights abused? One of the biggest cases in this country's history in modern time. Yeah, 600,000 people signed a petition, 30,000 people marching, ambassadors from the American government, every political party in Europe talking about it. The most talked about court case in decades, but they're not bothered about that. This is fake. Yeah. This is going to be falsified. This is not me. And I want to see if this, by a disgruntled ex-employee, could make its way around the world.
I'd like to see how much power Hope Not Hate have over the world's media.
Yeah, basically. This is the little mining. This will replace your button.
Cool.
This will go into your button anyway. This is how we'll record. And are you nervous?
No.
You should be. You should be. And well, let's just wait and see what we get from this. Time will tell, but good luck. And don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Thanks, mate.
See you later. Success?
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Let's see. Crazy? Not crazy? Good? Not good?
Lots of alcohol was consumed tonight for the greater good.
I can smell it.
You'll see.
You took it for the team. I only drunk for the team.
I did what I had to do.
Right. Let's
get these files sorted.
Let's work out what we've got. We've got lots of footage to go through, but straight off the crazy thing for me is you're steaming.
Which is a champagne and a double gin.
Thank you.
And then we're going to have some red wine, but
Thank you so much.
we'll panic about that at the appropriate moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Here I am on expenses in a boozer with the dog and the fire. Good. And I think we should have one more bottle of wine. Fuck it, no expense spared. 2 brandy, 2 limoncellos. This is creme de cassis, or the Keel Royale. But even better is another version which is with blackberry. blackcurrant liqueur and champagne. Liqueur Royale. Have you got any flaming Sambuca? And then 2 Kia Royales. And then the bill. Lovely, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we've got to do a runner. It's a joke. It's fine. I don't care. Not only, I really don't care. Good. Service included. So make it 220. Thank you very much.
Was this on BBC Expenses? How much alcohol's been consumed? I've heard him mention 3 bottles of wine, champagne, flaming Sambuca, all in 5 minutes. And you can hardly sit up. So, for me, that's an expensive scandal that the licence fee payer is paying for. Should we be paying for you to get pissed? Yeah. Of course you think we should.
Me getting drunk is me being more lucid, and then I'll tell him stuff.
So he's wanting to get you drunk. He's using the expense money to get you drunk in order to get you information.
Get me drunk, be nice to me, be my friend, and then I'll loosen up and be like, oh, I've got this recording, or I can tell you this, or whatever.
You may not like what I'm about to say, but one of my political heroes is the former head of the IRA, who turns the IRA, not...
Who? Nick Lowell's?
No, the guy got on well with the Queen. So there are 2 of them.
I should know that, but...
Danny McGuinness, I think his name is. And he got on anyway. He was the chief of staff of the IRA. People say.
Hey man, I've heard the Irish are being genocided.
And last time I was there, they're okay.
Martin McGuinness. His political hero is Martin McGuinness. Martin McGuinness, leader of the IRA. He's responsible for murder, bombs. It's a strange person to have as your political hero. From someone who's trying to paint me as extreme anyway. That is the sole reason I wanted to do this. For me, that is terrifying. How can they get that? How can he say he can do that from that innocent conversation or argument or disagreement, which has got nothing to do with that? So that is the sole reason I wanted that footage, to see exactly what are, and that's terrifying for me to think, what the hell are they about to portray to this country about me? What the hell are they going to say?
That's not the first time that's happened.
In what sense?
Because I told you about, I was offered $5,000 to do like a story on you, like a front page newspaper story.
By Hope Not Hate, you're talking about in the kitchen.
By Hope Not Hate. But I was also...
By Hope Not Hate, who are working with these...
Yeah, but I was also approached by a really mainstream newspaper, basically, to kind of make it out that you were like sexual allegations against me or something.
What, they were approaching you for that? At a time when we fell out?
Yeah, they said when I was at my lowest and I basically didn't have a job and I was like, a complete mess, and they were trying to like dig and get stuff out of me. And they were trying to make out that you'd done like a Me Too. They were trying to make out that you basically like abused me. And then they wanted to put in, they kind of ran with and went back to their editor. And then I called up and said, I really don't want this. This isn't true. You've kind of twisted it to fit your own narrative here. And he said, well, I'm sorry, it's too late. I've already sent it to the editors. And they want to run the story, this journalist. So I then had to call up this national journalist kind of like lawyery thing where you can call up and complain. And I had to put in writing saying, please do not put this out. If you put this out, I'm going to have to go against you legally or something. So I had to fight to get this story out of the paper.
From a mainstream journalist? From a top tabloid?
Big.
In order to portray me as an abuse, essentially.
Me as a victim, yeah. But it wasn't true.
With no truth in it all.
No.
And that for my life, do you know the whole purpose in me wanting this, the whole reason why I've wanted to do this is because I've been absolutely terrified of what they're doing. And that one little recording there proves that they will change what I'm doing and saying. This is massive. This is Britain's leading investigative journalist documentary by the BBC that we pay for, creating, editing news in order to destroy my life. Now, John Sweeney's been contacting me for weeks now for a gotcha moment where he can interview me and throw all these accusations from God knows who at me. Well, that gotcha moment is now in my hands, because I'm now going to sit down and I'm going to put these to John Sweeney to see how he justifies any of this. So for 2 weeks now I've been emailing John Sweeney. They've been trying to get me to sit down for an interview. I emailed him yesterday and said the only day I can do is today, and I won't come to London, it has to be in my venue. I've organised this venue. I've told them that I'm having a free speech event later in the evening. So we've prepared this projector with all of our undercover footage to try and find out and ask John, what exactly were you planning? What exactly are you doing? So rather than them grilling me, which is how they're expecting it to be with his executive producers, when they sit down, we will play through each clip. I'm going to go to my children's assembly now. When I come back, it's action. I'm nervous about it. See what happens. You all right?
Very well.
Just take this off. Right, fine. How you doing?
Thanks very much for doing this, thank you. Good, everybody's phones off.
You all right? Before we do start, I just wanted, because I am paranoid of fair and balanced reporting, I just wanted to clear a couple of things up with you while we're here. Is that all right before we start?
Okay, but you're recording, I think, aren't you? You're
That's okay.
recording, and so aren't you?
That's fine.
Yes, okay.
That's
okay.
fine.
So we're not starting yet?
No, we don't have to start the interview. I just want to clear everything up. So, this is a panorama documentary. You wouldn't be working with an organisation called Hope Not Hate on this documentary, would you? In order to find people to give negative opinions of me.
No.
No?
What we're doing is we're making a panorama documentary. The BBC makes all the editorial reports.
Okay, so it's a BBC, because it'd be quite strange for the BBC to be, how the BBC could be impartial on a documentary when Hope Not Hate are an organisation who are funded specifically to destroy me.
There are two separate entities.
Okay.
The BBC, I work for the BBC, this is the BBC panorama production.
Okay, can I just quickly show you something here? So what this is Joe Moorhouse from Hope Not Hate. And what he says in this message is that Hope Not Hate are steering this documentary.
My name's John Sweeney,
Okay.
and I'm a reporter
Okay,
for
John.
Panorama.
Okay, John.
So what this other guy says,
It doesn't matter.
he's not steering.
Okay, are you aware of any threats or blackmail that's been made to any of my ex-employees to give negative information about me to you? Are you aware?
No.
Well, can you just listen to this one?
We were basically threatened with the most horrendous shit you can possibly imagine for 3 months, constantly, to do this. Constantly. Because basically, why they have dirt on us is when we left Rebel, I don't know if I told you this, when we left Rebel, we were really fucking angry, and none of the media would take all the stuff we had on them. So Nick Close reached out to me on Twitter and he was like, oh, meet up with us. And we were like, oh, okay, like we weren't working with anyone then. So we were like, yeah, fuck it. And we met up with them twice and we were like, we can write a book on Rebel Media. We can write a book on how they've scammed people and this and this and this and this and this. And we were like really conniving with them. One of the first things they started threatening us with, this only started 3 months ago. We had no contact with them between 3 months ago and leaving Rebel, nothing. They started messaging us saying, we need to meet you, this is really serious. And then when we met them, they said to George, I wasn't there, we're going to release all of the meetings that you've had with us, threatening Rebel Media and talking shit about right-wing personalities and bitching about nothing serious, just saying, oh, they're cunts. And they're going to make you, and we're going to basically expose you. And also, we've got 6 signatures from the top trade unionist organisations in the country saying that they're going to come after you, and the government have opened a new department which we're advising on counter-terrorism, which are going to prosecute you for writing scripts which have incited the Darren Osborne terrorist attack. And it was like, they were basically like, you're going to fucking go to jail and you're going to get exposed for meeting with us if you don't work with us. This is what it all comes down to, this Panorama fucking thing. And Hope Not Hate were there standing next to the BBC producers.
When you went for the meeting with Panorama, who from Hope Not Hate was there?
Nick, Joe, John Sweeney, and the producer. So like, Hope Not Hate were like fucking terrifying, and they like did, you know, they blackmailed us. They felt like Joe fucking used the whole thing to try and get into Kaylin's pants. This is how bad it really was. When we pulled up in London, this was the day I dropped off the suitcase to you, right? That I went straight off from there, I can't remember where it was, to go and do this interview with them. They hired out this big car park warehouse thing. They had a little chair in the middle of it. I walked into this room, sat down. It was a cameraman, it was the head producer, it was Nick, and it was Joe. And then I started getting really nervous because she was saying, how much money, name numbers, name figures. And I was like, well, it was enough to pay for us to make videos, and all the money was spent on kit. And I was just saying vague shit. And then Joe said, can we stop the interview, please? And then I was like, okay. And then Nick went, can you come with us, Kaylin? And then Nick and Joe took me to the other side of the warehouse and said, Kaylin, you really need to give them more information than this. You really need to open up a little bit more, because this is really not useful to them. They're probably not even going to use this. You need to go into specifics. You need to go into numbers. You need to at least show them something.
Were they threatening you at you?
Breather, have a cigarette, and we'll come back to it.
Were they threatening you then?
Okay. I had a cigarette, and I went back and I sat down, and I still couldn't really do it. And it was really bad. Like, I was like shaking the whole time. That's when we told Panorama that we didn't feel that it was safe, that it was not okay, and that we were basically threatened.
Bit of a strange one here, yeah?
It's been a minute.
I know, sorry man, I know it's 4 o'clock in the morning here, but I've just got off the phone to Kaylin for an hour, yeah? How much have they told you about Hope Not Hate?
Not much. Why?
You're aware they've been meeting with them regularly?
I've met Joe too before. Yeah, I know that Kaylin and George have met with them before.
Continually met with them? When you was doing your Borderless documentary, Hope Not Hate flew out to Italy to meet them?
I don't know what they were talking about, but for the most part, like, I think they're just afraid of them. From what I've been told, it's like they're like, oh, they're kind of blackmailing us, like, hang out with us, or else we're going to get you guys arrested or whatever. So they've just met with them.
So hold on a second. I work for Panorama.
Were Hope Not Hate present in that interview? Were Hope Not Hate present in an interview with Kaylin Robertson?
I work for Panorama, and we are doing a film about you.
Are you aware of blackmail? Are you aware of
Joe? Look at me. Yes. I'm a reporter, and I'm asking you a question. Okay. Right. I get the point.
Are you aware? Are you aware?
I don't
Let me ask you one question about that.
Okay. Then we can start.
Are you aware of indecent images sent by someone from Hope Not Hate to Kaylin Robertson?
I'm aware of the allegation.
You are.
I'm aware of an allegation, and I do not think it credible or serious. If I'm wrong, you can put that information out there.
If somebody has been blackmailed, threatened, intimidated by an organisation that is steering your documentary.
It's not serious.
Okay, can we hear the next one? Play the next bit.
Made really inappropriate, I don't know how to describe it, almost basically like a sexual assault situation towards me when I was really drunk, pretty much passed out.
Fuck you know, this gets messier and messier.
No, hold on, yeah, okay, and I got really upset, and I broke down, and I told George about it last week because it's really fucked me up, and George messaged Nick, and apparently nearly got suspended, and it's it's a really big mess.
I'll come to Milan to see you. Who'd he come with?
Nick.
He come with Nick, so Nick was with him.
Yeah.
And what did he do when you was drunk?
Nick wasn't there at that moment. Nick had gone home. So we were filming with Lauren, and then they said you've got to meet us. So we flew to Spain via Milan, met them in Milan, literally just had a coffee with them where they basically just carried on threatening us, and said you've got to do Sky or one mainstream media thing. And then I went back to London to drop something off and to go then to Spain. So Kaylin was left in Milan for one night. Nick left that night as well, I think. And then this is when this thing happened. Caelan said that he was basically really wasted, that he thinks let himself into Caelan's room. And basically, yeah, Caelan kind of woke up and was like half naked, like trying to do stuff with him. And then Caelan said no, and was like, oh, you don't have to tell anyone, blah, 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 blah. Caelan was like really fucked up about it. So this was like 3 months ago, or 2 months ago, and Caelan only told me about it last week. So I messaged Nick saying, like, we need to talk, what the fuck is going on? And then Nick said that he's, like, doing an investigation into it. George also messaged Panorama saying, guys, Hope Not Hate raped Caelan. Hello?
Hi Joe, it's Tommy Robinson.
Oh, hi there, how's it going?
Yeah, not bad. Obviously you're aware I have a documentary coming out on Saturday. I'd just like to ask you a couple of questions quickly about your involvement.
Bear with me, I'm not going to be able to do it over the phone, I'm afraid. I'm not going to I'd have to speak to colleagues before I can do anything, I'm afraid.
So you can't just answer why you were you present during an interview with Caelan Robertson and Panorama?
I'm not going to be able to talk about anything on the phone.
Why not? Why not?
Well, you can't just ring someone up. If you want to speak to me, you can drop me an email and we can.
This is just your opportunity to counter what's being said.
I'm not going to answer any questions over the phone, although I don't see what's the issue there is, even if I was. Really.
So, were you and Nick Knowles present during an interview with Caelan Robertson and Panorama?
I've said everything I'm going to say to you, Tommy. I'm not going to answer any questions like that. If you want
just
to
a yes or no. It's just it's a simple yes or no.
Simply, look, Tommy, we're wasting time here.
Okay.
We must ensure we avoid bias or an imbalance of views. Our output will be based on fairness, openness, and straight dealing. Contributors will be treated honestly and with respect.
There are people being intimidated and blackmailed into giving negative reviews against me. The men who are doing it are present during your interviews. You're saying you're independent. Now, John, when it comes to fake news, you're John Sweeney, so I'm going to separate you from these allegations that are being made.
There are allegations.
There are allegations.
We can agree on that.
We can agree on that. Okay, so these are allegations. These are allegations.
And there is no evidence apart from your words or their words
John,
as to the substance of these allegations as I understand it. And
I know.
we have it behind on tape.
Okay, John, would you tell anyone what they have to say in an interview about me?
No.
No? Play the next one.
We only, the BBC, we only do question areas. So here's, it's a volunteer army. I want you to be comfortable about it. So is there anything you don't want me to ask about? I'm not supposed to ask this. I'm not supposed to ask this. I'm not supposed to ask this. So I'm going to ask you about, I'm going to take it through. What I want from you is the following. Simple two things. One, people like us, the BBC, the establishment, have not listened to what Tommy's been saying, and that's bad.
Yes.
And so the extent to which the entire conversation about Islamism, extremism, about what that means for ordinary Brits up and down the country, closing that down, shutting it off as racist full stop is wrong, and that's bad, and that goes in the can, and you say that, and that will appear in the show. The second thing is, but there's something, my own personal experience, it was difficult, because I was a good trooper, and then suddenly I was friends with the dogs. As a human being, he's funny and charismatic, and can be great company, and he's not your he's not a Nazi. Number three, partly because of the pressure, partly because of the chaos, you fall out. It's horrible because he turns on the mic. And those three elements are fair and good, and those three elements will appear in the show, I promise you.
He has...
Deal. We'll have a proper ding-dong.
Okay. Because there's a lot of people
and the good stuff, your stuff, goes in.
So there you are,
So
John.
I don't have to put on the record, John. I don't have a problem with that. Because I'm not, no. I'm saying, I'm putting, after a long conversation,
I've got the whole conversation,
which you haven't done.
I've got you 6 times telling that individual what they must say. Now let's go to the next one.
Gilligan wanted to make it sexualised, and he wanted it to make it out like you basically like Harry Weinsteined me.
Oh my God, man.
Because you're like a position of power,
And you're a
you know,
vulnerable
and like
woman.
all this shit. And I was like, yeah,
So when I'm being told, this isn't about you, John, but when I'm being told that journalists are approaching people.
I'm not sorry, I don't understand the context.
I'll tell you the context.
Okay.
This specifically is not about you.
Oh, they do.
But,
So it's
okay,
not about that, so it's
when,
not really
when I
like
felt
you're wrong.
when I felt sick, okay, because I found out that journalists were offering money to try and get a young girl to do a Harvey Weinstein story against me. Now, you're Panorama, you're John Sweeney. So let me play the next clip to you.
I call him like a silly little man and stuff. I'm just shouting at him. Yeah, but
Oh, we love that.
it was quite bad.
Could we have that? I'll drop you in it.
I'll have the thing. It will drop me in it. Everything will drop me in it.
Not necessarily.
It was really bad. We had this great big argument in Woburn High Street. Yeah, maybe. I suppose that I did give to the lawyers, and they said, well, actually, this for the case doesn't really work because you're just having a dispute. Doesn't really whatever. But I thought I'd record it just in case. Maybe I'll do that.
That's
It's only audio. It's only audio.
That's fine. How angry did it get?
He gets really angry and then he runs away and gets in the car and drives off. And I shout after the car. It's really bad.
We can clip that bit. We can clip that bit. We can clip that bit. My view about that is that I think doing a kind of gender, a kind of sexual thing against Tommy Robinson is. The person I was talking to there was worried about whether she would be identified. Now clearly that tape is now in your hands, so it would seem that she's working.
John, you said you was clip footage to make.
No,
you said you
I didn't say.
Do you have any idea what implications? You tried to turn a normal argument into a sexual matter.
No.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You want to take through it. Do you understand the implications? I've got 3 young children. Do you think before you destroy a man's life? Because this is what you were planning on doing.
No,
I've got the evidence.
You misunderstand me.
I misunderstand.
So what I was trying to do was to say to that source that if necessary we would change her gender to turn her, for example, into a man. I've done that on regular occasions where I have covered difficult.
So you're not realising I've got all of this tape.
You're
hanging yourself. You're hanging yourself.
So John says I'm misrepresenting him, and in fact he was telling her he could change her gender so she could not be identified. Let's just hear that clip again.
I think doing a kind of gender, a kind of sexual thing against Tommy Robinson is.
We can do a kind of gender, a sexual thing against Tommy Robinson. Nice try, John.
We should not present invented material as facts or knowingly do anything to mislead our audiences.
I've done 10 years worth of demonstrations. I've had cameras on me absolutely everywhere. And what they've been trying to expose and find is possibly that I'm a racist or I'm a homophobe or something like that. Yeah? I had you undercover for one boozy lunch, and you were repeatedly racist.
To do a cab too.
I pre-booked because the dog makes it more difficult.
Alright.
You know why, don't you?
Wine?
Because...
Oh, why?
Yeah, there's loads of Asian cab drivers don't like taking dogs.
How dare you? How dare you? Where's my phone? Say that on camera, right?
No.
Racist.
It's true.
It's true. So this is the first one. So then you are generalising. Then you are generalising
to this. And I regret those words said, but the context is simple. fact I've had a real-world experience like that. There's a court case in today's papers where an Asian taxi driver has lost his license because he refused to carry a blind dog.
You're doing exactly what your channel does over grooming. You're blaming an entire continent when, let's face it, it's Islam that believes dogs are unclean, so it's Muslim taxi drivers that don't like dogs. But you have stereotyped the entire continent. Then that wasn't enough for you, John. You wanted to then have a go at the Greeks.
And it always goes down well.
Yeah.
Is Jessica Rederer, which is thank you in Turkish. When you're pissed, you want to piss off a Greek, you start speaking Turkish.
Oh, really?
And they know, and they don't, anyway, never mind, they don't like it, but it's quite funny. Tommy, that's pathetic, that's a joke.
You find it funny joking about the invasion of a country where many women were pillaged and raped and murdered.
Okay,
you find that funny? No, John.
So I have many Turkish and Greek friends.
Well, you'll upset the entire Greek community because you find it funny to speak in Turkish to them because you find that funny. None of this is fun. None of this is fun. None of this is fun. Play your next one.
Okay,
play the next one.
I have a little more in common. I have more in common with Tommy than most reporters.
Yeah.
I scumbag Irish background.
A scumbag Irish background. So my family are a scumbag Irish background because they're poor and from Ireland.
I'm talking about myself.
No, you said you have more in common with me.
Okay.
A scumbag Irish background.
Which it's a joke.
That's a joke.
So wait a second.
Yes.
It's a joke.
So
I'm very, very proud of my Irish heritage.
My great granddad, who's a scumbag to you, John?
No,
who's a scumbag to
I'm
you?
very proud of my Irish heritage.
Yeah.
If you get somebody like me talking to a source, and actually that source is in fact a mole working for Tommy Robinson, then in the context of a 2-3 hour conversation, there will be moments where jokes happen.
Oh, jokes.
I'm very proud of
Play the next one.
But the people who you've been beaten up by Antifa, or rather Antifa have attacked Tommy and you've been in there.
Those people are brainwashed.
And they're lefty people. They're lefty.
Self-hating whites.
I'd like to call them a honky.
How do you use a racial term? How do you use another racial term? You call them honkies.
Hold on a second.
You call them honkies.
This is a conversation with your source. In what I'm trying to do is
you're trying to label me, and what's happened is in one afternoon, in one month, John, you've been. Okay, let me talk about homophobia. John, you seem obsessed. You seem obsessed with gays. So you have an obsession because then you ask if Joe Morgell's gay, right?
Because they've not gone out and just had a mate that's gay. That's the difference. So you've got people up in like all these different places in the UK or whatever, and they're sort of they've not just had a gay mate.
Have they never met a conservative MP?
No. I remember one line in particular. She said, "What do you think about LGBT or something?" And I said, "Well, some of the stuff that gay people say is just ridiculous." And that's me being
the way. Okay, by the way, there's nothing wrong with it. You said something worse, I guess.
Probably. That's the way that I would speak to Kaylin.
Ridiculous.
You know,
yes.
That's the way that I would speak to Kaylin in a bar. You know,
I think
like
they're ridiculous. They should be shot.
Well, yeah, exactly. No, obviously.
No, I know. But did you say it?
No.
Good.
That's the thing, because unbeknownst
I would say that, by the way. I would.
And they should be shot. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, Joe's dick pics.
Is he gay? Oh, my gay darling's rubbish. He's a Bertie Wolf there, is he? He's a Bertie Wolf there, is he? He's a Bertie Wolf there, is he?
May the best man win.
Yeah. Well, that's a bit weird.
Dzień dobry.
I'm not a jerk.
He's a woofer. Woofer, Cockney rhyming slang for puffer.
Presenters, reporters and correspondents are the public face and voice of the BBC.
Puffer is when you ask, you're able to explain. That is the most derogatory term you could have used possible for a homosexual person.
Oh, come on. John, my oldest friend at university is gay. I'm
is it okay to use the Is it okay to use the terminology woofer? Is that okay?
It's not great.
Is it okay, John? No, it's not. It's one of the most derogatory terms you could use.
It's not derogatory, but the idea that I'm homophobic is not true.
Let's get down to the reason. Let's get down to the reason that you and all of the media, you're trying to destroy me with a fabricated...
We're trying to give you...
You're blackmailing people.
Okay.
You're lying. You're telling... Listen, John. You're alleged to have blackmailed people who are in your meetings, in your interviews, whilst young men are being...
And you are the man who's making the allegations.
All in order. No, I'm not. You've just heard the people making the allegations. I'm not the man making the allegation. You've heard those are witness statements to my solicitor. Now let me go to the next one. Let me go to the reason why. Let me go to the reason why.
I want to ask you a question.
You can ask me a question, isn't it, mate?
Because if it has been on the end of a deception,
let me go to the next
I
one.
want to know about it.
Okay, let me go to the next one.
Okay.
This is the reason. So now everyone understands the reason why the elite, the classist elite.
Don't call me elite.
Am I a cannibal? Let me play the next one.
I've met Danny. Danny was, I was working on some film on Newsnight, and Danny was in the green room. And it was unusual to meet a white working class male in the Newsnight green room, and I was in the same way.
Who's normally in there?
Sorry?
Who's normally in there?
It was so unusual that me and one of my mates, we went down there to have a drink with him in the way that you would do with somebody from the, you know, a cannibal from the Amazonian, from Amazonia, or maybe a creature from that.
So working class white male is a cannibal from the Amazon. No, that's what you said. So you're on camera.
Okay, so wait a second.
You are a classist elitist. The way you view working class people is a disgrace. The reason we have the problem we have is because of journalists like yourself, from the background you're from, sneering down upon our community. Sneering down, thinking you're better than us, and let me just...
My understanding of the Labour Party today is they're almost like blooming, I don't know, activists.
Well, they're social. The point is, you hear much more accents like yours and mine, rather than fuck off, or rather than Tommy's.
So the Labour Party, they will have accents like yours or hers, middle class, rather than fuck off. You believe the working class vocabulary is simply fuck off. That is your classism.
No, what I'm doing is
what I'm doing here, John, is I'm exposing you, I'm exposing Panorama, and right now, John, because right now...
So this text was sent to us,
yes,
and this is the text from that source who's on that video.
Okay.
And the text is, from you, if you had anything to do with this Panorama doc, I will fucking bury you, you bitch. Did you send that text?
Point proven. I have video evidence that did not come from my phone, and here you are about to betray it to an entire nation. John.
No, I'm going to ask you a question.
I've just told you an answer.
Sorry, okay.
This would be, right now, this would be going on a documentary that would be aired to the entire British public.
It wouldn't be, because we would put the right of reply.
No.
And here's the right of reply. John, is this true? John, is this true?
As I expected, they did not bother to verify the authenticity of that fake text message in their hunt to take me down. John says he would give me the right to reply, to which I would say it's fake, but the fake allegation that I threatened to murder my ex-female employee would effectively be aired to millions of people across the world. And I'm certain every national newspaper would run with the headline, Tommy Robinson threatens to kill female employee. I wanted to prove, and I've just proved, how easy it is for fake news to be created and for people to be targeted and their lives destroyed.
You have been harmed. My solicitor is currying a court injunction against you.
Okay. Oh, fantastic.
Against you.
So is this a lie?
This is fake news exposed.
Very good.
Okay.
Is this a
John,
lie,
John, I suggest you get home.
Yes. Is this a lie?
I never sent that message from this phone. This is my phone.
Oh, you didn't send it from that phone?
It wasn't sent from the phone. I didn't send it.
Hold on. It wasn't sent from the phone. I didn't send it. Is this a lie?
You'll be able to catch it all in my documentary. You'll be able to catch it all in my documentary.
No, we haven't finished our
we're finished. No, we have finished. In fact, John, you've finished your career. You've finished your career.
You think so?
I know something. I know something. Homophobia, racism, extreme.
I'm not a homophobe.
You are.
And I'm not a racist.
You are. And I'm not.
Okay.
What you was
is a lie.
What the establishment.
And what this is, mate, this is a skit show.
What the establishment was about to do to me, they were going to destroy my name, sexualise comments.
I'm not a member of the establishment.
Yes, you are.
You're working none of these things.
Are you working the home I hate on this documentary?
No.
Have they been present in interviews?
We have had some input from some
Have they been
people,
present in news?
including your spies.
Have they been present in news?
Not
John,
not-
you are fake news. You're fake news, and
No,
you've been
no,
proven.
no.
You've been creating.
This is a lie, Tommy.
You've been proving.
You told us
this
a lie.
Is a lie.
And
You're on
you,
camera,
sir,
bro.
are the
Everyone's
source of the lie. The idea that
John.
I'm homophobic, that's not
John.
true. This
John.
man has lied to us
Who's John?
through people.
John, are you John?
So, hold on.
You're
John.
John, I suggest you prepare yourself, because
Okay.
once this goes live, which it's going to, outside your offices on the 23rd of February, I've got all the evidence of you creating stories, telling sources and people
Oh,
what
hold on
to
a
say.
second. Outside
It's
your
all
offices, because this is
evidence.
what you do all
It's
the time.
all
Tommy.
evidence, John.
What you do
You don't know
is
what
you
you're talking.
threaten people.
It's all evidence.
You always threaten people. And the hate
You're
you
lying.
have put up
John,
online.
don't talk about hate when
No,
you're
no,
calling
no, no.
people woofers. You intend.
Listen, I'm sorry I called somebody
Oh, you
a
are.
woofer.
Oh, you are sorry.
It's-
What about?
it's the wrong
Are you sorry to the
language.
Greeks? Are you sorry to the Irish community? Are you sorry? You insulted a Greek woman by speaking Turkish to her. You said you found it funny.
I did no
It's
such
on camera,
thing.
John. It's on camera, John.
No, but what
You said you would
saying is
sexualise.
that-
You said you would sexualise my comments that were innocent.
No.
Yes, you did.
No,
You're
I
on
didn't.
camera,
No,
John.
I didn't.
John,
No.
the world's going to
Anyway,
watch this, bro.
this is a lie. Good luck with your injunction.
Good luck, my injunction.
We haven't finished on Panorama.
No.
And stop threatening people.
You have finished,
shouldn't
bro.
threaten Julia Ebner. You think I'm finished? I've got another thing coming, and I can give you that for free.
Can you?
Okay. Good. Go and find a lawyer.
I've already been with a lawyer, John. Okay?
Right, I hope they're
I've
good.
already been with a
I
lawyer.
hope they're
I've
good.
already dissected every one of your comments.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have,
What
John.
you've done is read the worst
stuff.
possible thing
With-
on it. I can defend every
can't
second
defend a
of
single
it.
word of it.
Yes, I can.
And on that note,
and I will.
You,
and on
you
that
are
note, all I'm saying
the
to
establishment.
you
You work for the establishment.
is, none of these people are the
No,
establishment.
you are.
but-
You're working.
No, I'm
you're
not.
working with Hope Not Hate.
No, I'm
who are
not.
working with the government, and you are all going against me
I'm
because I
not
speak out
working
against
with
you.
the British
This
government.
is a campaign.
I understand some of the anxieties that you have. I get that. And,
John, why would you be creating one? Why would you tell someone what to say about me? Why would you
I
tell them?
didn't do that, and you're mischaracterising me.
You didn't do that. Everyone's
No.
going to watch this.
No, I know
Everyone's gonna watch
everybody's
this.
going to watch it, and
Yeah.
it'll be good fun. But more people will watch
Good
our
fun.
Panorama.
You find telling. No, please,
No,
please,
no,
please.
no, no,
This
no.
is my
No,
life,
no.
John. It's my life.
It's my life too. It's my life too,
You
Tommy.
find it fun.
And I
You
kept
find it
right.
fun to tell someone that an innocent comment is sexualised. Do you know what that would do to my family?
okay.
Do you know what it would do to my
Hold
children?
on.
Do you know what you're doing?
Okay.
Do you know what you're doing to my family? You have no idea what you're doing to my family. If you'd have got away with what you were trying to do to me, you'd have ruined me.
No,
You'd have broke my
hold on,
marriage.
hold on a second.
You'd have broke my marriage. What you've done is
Hold
this.
on.
There's only
No,
one
stop
journalist
this
in this room, John, and it's not you. Okay?
Oh, really? Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
You're a disgrace. And in fact, anyone who's been taken down by Panorama, anyone has to challenge now, because there is no integrity in any of the work you've done. You are a liar, you're a fraud, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, all in one interview.
This is a lie.
Excuse me, Mr. Roberts, we're the two executive producers on the program.
Okay, well you're in trouble as well. You're all in trouble. You're all in trouble.
We invited you for an interview today. You haven't given us an interview.
No, I haven't. I've exposed you, okay? You were trying to destroy my life. You have been contacting people. Why were Hope Not Hate present? Why were the leaders of a far-left George Soros-funded organisation, why were they present during the interview of a person which you were goaded in to give bad information about me? Why were they present? Tell me. If this is a Panorama documentary, why were Hope Not Hate present?
This is an ongoing documentary.
This is an establishment attack on me, and you're part of it. And you've been exposed to the world tonight. So let's summarise what you've seen. You've seen the BBC, who pride themselves on being impartial and reporting the truth. You've witnessed the main man from Panorama telling someone what to say, brokering a deal on what they have to say about me. Now, if he's brokered a deal with her, who else has he brokered a deal with? Who else is being told what to say? They're scripting the documentary. They're also creating and inventing news. Sexual thing against Tommy Robinson. What else when we've got two other people saying they're being blackmailed in order to give negative reviews of me? Who else would have participated in this documentary? What else was going to be said? What other lies and manufactured evidence would there have been on this documentary? You've seen the contempt they have for the working class. The contempt they have for you, the licence fee payer.
You pay your licence fee, and if you don't, you're taken to court. Just so the elitist, fake news journalists can travel this country drinking champagne on your expense. Now, if there's one thing that symbolises the BBC, we all know about the fake news. I've just proved to you that they create the fake news, that it's not impartial, that they work with far left extremist organisations. That's been proven. If there's one thing that symbolises them, the BBC covered for Jimmy Savile, they covered for Stuart Hall. Up to 100 children were raped and abused, many of them on the property of this organisation. Let me show you this statue that is at the entrance to the BBC. That statue was sculptured by a man called Eric Gill. Eric Gill was a paedophile. He raped his own daughters. He had sex with animals. He had an incestuous relationship with his sister. When the Catholic Church became aware of this man's crimes, they removed and covered all sculptures made by him. The BBC refused to. They were asked to, but they refused to. If you have disgust now, and you're fed up with paying for this, or for the propaganda they use against you, for the negative portrayal of Brexit, if you're fed up with all of these things, what can you do? I'll show you what I'm going to do, and I hope you follow my lead. You can legally not have a TV licence in the UK. You do not have to have one, okay? None of us asked for the BBC to come into our homes and display their programmes on our TVs. If you're fed up of paying for their propaganda when you don't even watch their shows, you can follow the steps I'm about to take you through now to end that. There's a few things you need to know once you've filled out these forms. It's a myth that the BBC can sit outside your house and detect that you're watching TV. That is a myth, it's not true. If the BBC TV inspector knocks at your door, you can. Be polite, you should be polite. But you can open your door, say I don't need a TV licence, I haven't got one, goodbye, I don't watch live TV. That's it. They have no rights to come into your home. It's obvious that if a TV licence inspector walked past your front window and you had your curtains open and you were watching Panorama on BBC, which I don't think you will be, if you're watching BBC, they will fine you. But you do not have to have a TV licence. And I'm going to take you through the steps. I'm going to ask, please follow these steps now. Follow exactly what I'm about to do. Go to www.tvlicensing.co.uk. You'll find a link, declare no licence needed. Upon clicking this, you'll be brought to another page where they try to convince you need a licence, even though you legally don't. Ignore that and click the button that says, tell us you don't need a licence. Step 1, select the type of property you live at. Complete name, email and phone number. Step 2, enter your property address. Step 3, tick the 3 boxes for the declaration. You will then be asked what date you want to start watching live TV again. Tick the button to the right where it declares I have no plans to do this. Then click the reason for not needing a TV licence. I'm sorry, but John Sweeney is not an option. Step 4, review and confirm, click submit. You are now licence free. Congratulations, you've just saved yourself £155 a year. You can now afford to go to the pub and celebrate. I know. How about champagne and double gin? Then some red wine. 2 brandies, 2 limoncellos. Creme de cassis, Kia Royale, blackcurrant liquor and champagne, flaming Zambuca and 2 Kia Royales. Enjoy. So, if you're fed up with the BBC, then sign our petition at www.endthestealthtax.com. I'll personally find and track down the head of the BBC, I'll hand it to him, and I'll give it to our government. And you'll see it on our next video. Thank you.